Hi, everyone. Good to see you guys again this week. Um, we're obviously coming off a fun weekend and a fun Friday night. And, you get about 24 to 48 hours to enjoy it, and then you got to move on to the next one. So we're kind of pushing forward and looking forward to going down to Dallas this weekend. But good deal. What questions might you all have for us?
What did you guys just think of the atmosphere on Friday, setting the attendance record, and what was it like getting to perform in front of that many fans?
Yeah, it was good. I think we were excited about it. Obviously, I think I'll let Kennedy speak for herself, but I think it was exciting for our student athletes too. And, just to have that energy and just to see that we've created a kind of a true home field advantage and the excitement around our program. Man, so rewarding. I think I took a couple of seconds right at the end of that meet to just close my eyes and just listen to what was going on, and it was just fun to hear, and just enjoy that. So
Yeah, no, it was definitely really cool just kind of taking a few seconds to kind of close our eyes and just take it all in and know that those people were there to watch us and support us and see all the hard work that Mizzou Gymnastics has put in. So I thought that was really cool and it was a lot of fun.
You
Kennedy,
talked
what's
about,
the SEC Freshman of the Week this week?
Yeah, it was really cool. I was sitting up at Matsy kind of just eating lunch with some of my teammates. And then they were like, Kennedy, look. And I was like, that was really cool just to kind of know all the reps and hard work and support from everyone kind of helped produce that.
you talked about the fans. Talk about the growth over the last year or so. Last year, you guys set the attendance record against Auburn. A year later, you break it again by even a wider margin against LSU. Just the excitement around this program continues to feel like it's rising and rising. What kind of credit can you give that to, just the whole city of Columbia just rallying around your team?
yeah, well, obviously we're appreciative of all those people that come back to see us, and we can't do those things without them. But I think everything's got to work together, right? Obviously, we've got to be able to be competitive as a program and consistently competitive, year in and year out. And then, we have to have marketing, and we've got to have event management, and we have to have support from our athletic department and just all the people that work with us. So it really is just like chip away at all those areas, and it just all works together. And then obviously we got to have talented young women come in and help us do the things that we feel like we're capable of doing. So it really is a lot of things working together. From fan engagement to us doing well and all those things. So it really is nice to see. But I think that's really what's been happening is we've been getting better, obviously, over the last 3 to 4 years. And then we're now, I really feel like our athletic director has put a lot of effort into that fan engagement piece and resources, financially too, to make sure that everybody's doing, has the ability to do a great job and market these programs that are doing great things, outside of, obviously football and basketball are keys to what we do. But I think that we're recognizing that, hey, wrestling and gymnastics and this sport and this sport, they're all doing well. And so let's market those things.
Coming off a meet and a performance like that on Friday, just what's the mindset heading into this next one? Is it a little bit different, or is it always the same every time you guys go out?
Go ahead.
I think it's always the same, kind of just focusing on the things that we can do better as a team to improve our score and help us get to nationals and place well at nationals. But to be able to do that, we just really have to focus on the continuous grind and how to stay healthy and keep our bodies healthy and just to stay on top of school.
Yeah. Hey, look, Friday night was awesome. That was a great experience for our team and our fans and everybody involved. And so that was great. But we also have to look beyond that and go, okay, hey, would that have been good enough in the postseason to get us where we need to go? And the answer is no, it's not, right? We need to be more solid across the board. And we talked about that on Monday when we got back in, is like, look, we did a lot of great things and we excelled in that moment. But it's time. February is really a time for us to put all 4 events together. We've shown greatness on each event throughout the month of January. We can be great on bars and beam and floor and vault, but we need to do that more often in the same evening. And I think that's what we're looking for, is just a little more consistency at a high level. We go back to sticks too. Like we did a good job, but we were 7 out of 18, right? We need to do better than that. I think that's an area where we want to continue to do better. Now, the good thing is we've been pretty consistent on where we've been, kind of in that 6 to 8 range sticks. But we'd like to be above that. It's time to grow, right? If we're not growing and getting better, we're gonna get lapped by some other teams. And so we want to work on those little things.
So Shannon, I know that you had said that you guys are still working on what kind of lineups you want to have in the future. Kennedy, where else do you see yourself trying to, what other apparatuses do you see yourself trying to compete on?
Definitely floor and vault, trying to work towards getting a 10-0 vault. I'm working my 1.5 and then just cleaning up the full that I'm currently doing. And then also hopefully beam, just working on cleaning up the little things and working on the landings.
Yeah. Yeah, I think overall, I mean, Kennedy's right. We're trying to, I guess we'll let her keep doing floor. And then but you know, she's been working hard just on her personally on getting vault going, and I think we're getting close, and then beam as well. And so overall, yeah, definitely we've got some people that are right there. I mean, the exciting thing is we have many additional young ladies that are almost ready to go and that's perfect, because this is a good time for us to try to get them into lineups and give maybe some people a little bit of a rest here and there. You know, Body's kind of in that, we're in kind of the middle third of our regular season, and I feel like this is a time where if we can give a little bit of a break here and there to some people, that will pay dividends down the road too.
You brought up earlier the putting more consistency together in order to place at nationals. You know, you guys just beat the number 3 team in the country. What does that look like? And what is your your message where you're in that middle third of the season you just mentioned? How does that slow process gain to where you can kind of peak once you hit that nationals mark?
Yeah, well, you know, I think the last few years we've kind of done a little more of a steep peaking. This year it's a little more of a steady, you know, incrementally. And it's a little bit of a different approach, but that allowed us to start a little stronger this year. And so maybe the difference between the beginning and the end aren't so drastic. And so, you know, I think just continuing to go back to basics, you know, you have to remember to go back to a lot of the basics and things that you do on a weekly basis, so you can keep things sharp. And I think we just continue to go back and refine basics. You know, again, I use the term extraordinary. You know, being extraordinary is really doing those ordinary things really well, extra well. And so we just keep going back to some of those basics and root skills, and that helps keep us sharp, I think, in there. And so we just keep doing that. And then I think creating some competitiveness within our lineups. You know, yeah, we've got a great starting 6 on floor, but we also have a really good 7 and 8 and 9 person that they're ready. And I think creating that internal competition is good. It forces people to stay sharp and keep working hard because they want to get out there and compete. So I'd say those are some of the things that we're trying to make sure we continue to work on, to make sure that we continue to move forward.
You know, we've seen you guys have been one of the teams that have really utilized your depth so far this season. Would you say you're getting to a point to where you're kind of like understanding and feeling like, okay, this is kind of like what my lineup should be come postseason? Or would you still say you're kind of experimenting with people? And then just a quick question, if you knew how to watch this weekend, if there's a way we can watch.
We were just talking about that. I'm like, how do we see this thing? Mason might know better than I do. I think he mentioned something about it being on Huddle or some platform. I'm not sure on there, but yeah, you know, again, I think we're getting closer. I think we experimented a little bit, like this weekend, for example, that floor lineup was new. Like that was the first time, you know, we had that combination of people in there, and we moved some spots around a little bit. So I do think we're getting there. You know, I think each event, it just depends on the event. I think, you know, I still have some dabbling to do on vault, and I'm hopefully going to, you know, tweak that a little bit this weekend. You know, I think we know our people on bars that we're using. I think we know the the 7 people or 8 people that we have that are going to be kind of our mainstay over there. Beam's getting closer. We'd like to get Mara back into the mix on beam. She did beam for us the first couple of meets. And then she had a little kind of a foot bruise on the bottom of her foot. So we took her out for a couple weekends. So we're hoping to get her back over there. On floor, I definitely think we've seen our main contingent of people. We may see Alana back in the floor lineup. She was out this last weekend. But JJ is another person that I feel like could step in on vault and or floor for us. So we're almost there. I feel like by the end, our goal, I think, was by the end of February to kind of get into like a kind of a rhythm right there and make sure kind of the back half of February. But yeah, you're right. Listen, we've got a lot of new people. We want to, I think that's the cool thing that we've sold in the recruiting process too, is look, you can come here and you can compete first year. Last weekend, if you look at the numbers, our freshmen accounted for, I think, 7 of our 24 routines. That's almost a third of our routines that our newcomers came in and did last weekend. And, I think that's cool. I think that tells you how talented they are, but it also tells you, the confidence that we have in them to go out and get the job done. So, I don't know if I answered that exactly, but, I think we're working there. We're getting there. I think we just need more data points, I think, a little bit to see what our score is, and then how to put them in order on those events. That's the other kind of thing that you have to be strategic about. So
What kind of goes into that strategy on your rotations on each event?
Yeah. I think you're trying to build scores, right? You're trying to start with a good routine. I think if like we use tennis as an example, I think they always put their best, they kind of match them up, they pair them up, strongest, kind of good to great, right? And so we try to do the same thing. We try to put a really good routine out, and then we try to put a great routine out. There are some strategies sometimes, I'm not on floor. I wanted to put our 3 freshmen in that lineup, but I didn't want to put them in a row, quite honestly. So I slid Amari in between there, just because I wanted somebody with some experience in there as well. And that seemed to help us actually. That worked out pretty well for us, I think, because, Hannah had a little bit of a whoopsie, and then Amari stepped in and got us right back on track. So I think you look at some of those things, strategically, like how do we kind of, just manage a little bit of risk, but also we want to stack scores, right? And we did feel like I moved Kennedy to 5th in that floor lineup because I felt like that could score big for us if she did what she was capable of doing. I think it could have scored well anywhere, but I certainly think you have a better opportunity in the back half of those lineups right there. Getting a good leadoff person is critical too. I think that's one of them. I feel like a good leadoff is more important than any spot in that lineup, quite honestly, because you got to get off to a strong start, right? And so you want to put somebody out there that you can rely on to get you off to a good solid start. And if you had to count that score, you could do it, and it wouldn't be the end of the world. So.
Shannon, talking about that freshman class that had so much success this past weekend, just what kind of growth have you seen from them? And Kennedy, what kind of growth have you seen in yourself and also your freshman class?
Yeah, why don't you go? You go.
Honestly, I feel like just we've built a lot of confidence over these past few weekends. We kind of came in, we made some changes to all of our routines, but we really trusted the coaches and our trainers with what we should do and what can help the team. So I think we really rely on that a lot. And then also just the trust within our team. They trust us to kind of go out there. So I feel like we've done a great job just kind of coming in, being confident, trusting the training and all our hard work that we've put into it.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges for newcomers, is just the consistency of the level of work from day to day to day. And I think they've done a really good job with that, right? Like if you're seeing them in our lineups, that's telling you that, hey, look, they come in, they're not just doing a good job on day 1 in the preparation. They're doing a good job on day 1, 2, 3, 4, across the board, because consistency wins, right? And so that's what we're looking for in their preparation phase. And I think they've done a real nice job of that. And that's why you're seeing them in lineups, because they're not only talented, but they're doing the work at a consistent level every day.
This is kind of a question for both of you guys. You talked about the consistency, putting all 4 performances together. What's the mindset have to be in order to do that, to where you get through a couple of routines and then you move on to another apparatus and you have to make sure that you keep it steady or keep increasing to, keep the momentum going throughout the entire meet.
Yeah, I think you are. I don't think we're really changing anything what we're doing. I think we just need some experience. I mean, sometimes you just got to get out there and learn, on the job training, right? Quite honestly, is you got to get out there and go and they got to figure it out. But sometimes the only way to do that is by competing. And so, now I think we have enough, we've had 2 home meets, 2 road meets. I feel like at this point we should have enough kind of experience. I always say by about mid-season, our freshmen aren't freshmen anymore. They're done with freshmen because that was first month. And so, we have enough information and they have had enough competitive experience, now and previously before getting here that, we should be at a point where we have the confidence we can go out there and get that done. The other part was kind of, in regards to lineups, I feel like once you stop kind of tinkering with lineups, then you have an opportunity to kind of get into a little bit more of a rhythm. So we're kind of transitioning into that right now. And I would expect that the consistency should be at a higher level across the board as we kind of solidify some lineups too. But so I don't know if that answers all the way. What do you think?
Mainly just for like the people that do multiple events and us, just like as teammates, taking it one event and one skill and one routine at a time is really important, not focusing on any like little mishaps, just really focusing on what we can do and taking it one skill at a time.
Yeah. So
Got time for 1 or 2 more questions here.
So Kennedy, I'm wondering, as a freshman, I think you're the first freshman we talked to. What do you think so far is the best part about being on a college team, and what made you decide to come to Mizzou?
Yeah, so this will kind of like tie together. So I chose Mizzou just because of the family atmosphere and then the opportunity that the coaches were giving us to compete freshman year and to really kind of be impactful in any way that we can be. And I think one thing that I really enjoy about this team is the family atmosphere and how close everyone is and how we work really closely with our trainers, all the coaches, with our athletic trainer, and we kind of really get to know everyone and can feel comfortable sharing anything. And then it just really helps coming into the gym, making it a lot easier and a lot more fun. We have a lot of fun at practice and at meets and traveling. So I feel like it's just my home away from home, and I just really enjoy coming in every day and working hard.
yeah. Believe it or not, I'm a fun guy. I'm just like this. So I just present this, but we have some fun. Like we played volleyball in the gym yesterday. We like to joke around. I feel like you got to have a good balance between work and fun and on there. And so but yeah, it's a great group. And I think on Kennedy's one of her recruiting trips, she came in and we were doing really well the year she came in. And I looked at both of my, and I don't know if Kennedy remembers this. I said, look, we offered her a scholarship. And I said, you don't get an offer from a top 10 school every day. And so, her mom looked at me and she goes, yeah, you're right. And so, and then she came back for a visit, and I can't remember if she had already signed or not, but man, it was one of those games, football games. It wasn't this last year, but it was the year before. It was so cold. I mean, it was freezing. And I can usually man up and get through through those games. It was so cold. I think at the end of the third quarter, I'm like, all right, we got to go. I'm like, no one could feel their toes. And I'm like, that's never good. I'm like, okay, are they still coming now that they know it's Arctic here? So, but yeah, so some insight on some of Ken's experience before she got here. So cool. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate your time again. And we won't be home for a little while, but maybe you guys can join us for the Zoo to the Lou thing. And if not, we'll see you all in March or back on the Zoom.